rounds that fight gonna last? You and Earl?
I don't know.
I don't think it go the distance, though. I don't think it go the distance.
Whether it do or not, I'm gonna be undisputed. I'm sitting here telling you right now.
A mega fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford has been confirmed for July 29th, and pros are excited about seeing the two of them in action. In fact, they've put in their predictions already. Mike Tyson was asked who he thinks will come out on top, and he thinks Crawford has what it takes to come out on top. Tyson stated, "The reason I say Crawford is because what do you think about the guy they both fought? Look at what he did to Porter." Teddy Atlas also thinks that Crawford will get the victory, but he's seeing a late stoppage happening. Teddy stated, "I think Crawford stops him late in the fight. I love Spence, don't get me wrong. He's the naturally bigger guy at welterweight, he's a hell of a puncher, and he's got Olympic pedigree, so he knows what he's doing technically. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that Crawford has better than anybody: instincts. You can't coach instincts, you either got it or you don't. And he's got some of the greatest instincts I've ever seen in a fighter." Adrian Broner thinks that we're about to see the two fighters go through an absolute war, and he's ready for it. Adrian stated, "I know Terence very well. I know them both very well, but of course I'm with my brother Errol. His feet are better than what people think. He's more accurate than what people think, and he knows how to land his shots. His timing is good. He's good. There's not going to be no time for boxing and trying to get out of the way. He's going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight. It's going to be a war. I see it being a war, and I can't wait until it happens. I'm a fan of both, but I'm closer to Errol. I'm taking Errol to win for sure. Nah, because Errol's defense is better than what people think." Kenny Porter seems to think that Spence will get the job done in the ring, though. Porter stated, "Spence. Errol Spence is the bigger guy on fight night. Without getting into any details beyond that, his style is one that will lead him to victory. If that's how he chooses to fight him, he can do something to that effect. But he's the type of guy that uses his size and jab very well, and he'll impose his will on you for those rounds as long as they last. I think it goes the distance, but I think he wins. No, Spence ain't going down. It's not gonna happen. He's not going down. It's not gonna happen. Listen, he's not going down. He's a..." Sean Porter seems to think that the pacing of the fight is going to be very fast, and he sees this as an all-out war between two of the best. Sean stated, "Absolutely, Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence will be an explosion, I can guarantee it. Errol likes to be a commander-in-chief, likes to control the ring, likes to do what he wants to do. Against me, he chose to try to beat me at my own game. Terence goes, I'm coming to the ring, this is what I'm going to do. Stop me. You got two guys saying stop me. You can't beat that." Gary Russell Jr. is another fighter who believes that Errol can come out on top. Gary stated, "With that being said, I think Errol has what it takes. He's not going to be defensively irresponsible. Of a 12-round duration, Terence is going to have to be perfect. Errol doesn't have to be." Josh Taylor believes that both fighters are close in skill, but he sees Crawford having something extra to bring home the win. Taylor stated, "I go for Crawford. I just think he's a bit more well-rounded. I think he's a bit special, Crawford. It's a close fight, don't get me wrong, but Crawford is that extra bit better." Mikey Garcia also believes that Crawford comes out on top in the close matchup. Mikey stated, "I think that's going to be a great matchup. It's 50-50. If I had to pick a side for at least what it is right now, I'm going to lean toward Crawford. I think he might be able to make adjustments on the spot, on the fly a little bit better, but not by a lot. Spence manages the distance really well and is able to control the distance with short little movements. It's a tough one to call, but I'm thinking Crawford maybe. Everybody has the power at that point. They're at the highest level. The only difference is Crawford and Spence are too smart to knock each other out. I think it's going to be a very technical fight. All it takes is one punch, and Spence never landed that one punch that could have hurt me. He could land that against anybody else. That's what makes a difference. When I say I'm going to lean a little bit toward Crawford, it's just an instinct maybe. It's not where I can pinpoint why. It's a close fight." Frank Martin believes that Spence will be able to beat Crawford though. Frank stated, "His determination. He's just determined. He's one of those people who doesn't have any quitting in him. He doesn't have any type of give up in him. If there's something he feels like he lacks, he's gonna find a way to get good at it." Dmitry Bivol was asked to make a prediction, but he thinks there's more to understanding the fighters than looking at previous fights. Dimitri stated, "No, don't ask me about this. I like Terence Crawford, but to make a prediction, you have to know how they're feeling in themselves in the training camp. You have to know them, know their problems. Terence Crawford, I like his style. He's really smart." Kell Brook has faced both of them, and he had his own interesting prediction for who he thought would win. Kell stated, "After seeing their fight, Sean Porter and Crawford, you've got to lean towards Crawford now. But styles make fights. Spence is a natural southpaw, so it'll be very interesting. Everyone will still tune in, but I think the way he dealt with Porter, I think you have to start leaning towards Crawford. Just because of Spence's car crash, he had problems with his retina in his eye." Danny Garza sees Spence as being too powerful for Crawford, though. Danny stated, "In the beginning, it was 50-50, but now for some reason, I'm leaning more towards Spence. I feel like he's going to be too strong and his work rate. The only thing he can't do is get caught, because if he gets caught a little bit, he'll be shaky. But other than that, he's going to beat him. Crawford throws the shorter punches. That's why his punches are harder. Spence's are a little bit wider. Crawford, throws the shorter punches, and that's why they have the effect. Spence throws a little wide, but he breaks you down. Crawford is number one, so a lot of guys feed into that, but I look at the styles." Canelo Alvarez was asked who he thinks is a harder fighter to prepare for, and he sees Crawford as being the more difficult fighter between the two. Canelo stated, "I think that's a good fight. It's going to be a really good fight. Spence is a really good fighter, but I think Crawford, he can switch that. I think he's better." Oscar De La Hoya is looking forward to the fight, but he sees someone else as the boogeyman of the division. Oscar stated, "I know the biggest fight to be made is Crawford versus Errol Spence, but Virgil Ortiz is the guy that's considered to be the boogeyman. I've never dealt with Terence Crawford, but look, I like both guys. Spence is... I've always said when I was promoting Spence, I always said that Spence can be like a Sugar Ray Leonard, of our era. That fighter, he's an amazing human." Timothy Bradley definitely has his money on Crawford winning, but he also sees a way that Spence could come back and win in later rounds. Tim stated, "At the end of the day, my money is on Crawford. Imagine Crawford hitting him with that right hand. He's gonna feel it. The one thing that Crawford has to worry about are the body shots that Spence is gonna be throwing. Those are lethal. That takes the power away, and late in fights when someone like Crawford, who has punching power late, that'll be gone. Spence will put the pressure on him and probably win in decision. You never know, man. It's a close fight, but my money is still on Crawford by knockout." Deontay Wilder wants people to know that he's picking Errol Spence, but he makes it clear that this wasn't based on any personal reasons. Deontay stated, "I love both fighters, but I gotta go with my brother Errol Spence. It's nothing personal against anyone else. I'm going with Errol all day long on that one. That's gonna be one hell of a fight. I just hope and pray that when the fight does come to pass, that it's a dramatic and exciting fight. Sometimes you can get fights that have the anticipation, the energy, and feel of being great, and then when it happens, our hopes were so high that it doesn't give us what we wanted. I only say that because of the length of time it's taken for this thing to happen." If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.